I'm Riley Chow, and I'm here with David Buchanan and Amanda Spears, and we're going to be talking about the Emmy race for Best Comedy Writing. The nominees this year are Catastrophe for their pilot episode, written by Rob Delaney and Sharon Horgan, Master of None for the episode Parents, written by Aziz Ansari and Alan Yang. Silicon Valley has two episodes nominated, the season premiere, Founder Friendly by Dan O'Keefe, and the season finale, The Uptick by Alec Berg. And Veep has two episodes nominated, Morning After, which is the season premiere, written by David Mandel, and the episode Mother, written by Alex Gregory and Peter Huck. Okay, so what we're seeing this year are multiple episodes nominated from the same series, which is not something that we saw last year, but we usually see in this category. And normally that means that one of those episodes is going to win because, it's an indication that the writers love the show so much that they just try to tick it off as many times as they can. But this year we're going to run into some trouble because the ballots are now plurality based, where the voters just mark off one episode instead of ranking all the nominees. So if they are a fan of Veep, they're going to have to choose between the season premiere, which is written by the showrunner, who might be the one who they would prefer to reward, but the episode Mother is also nominated, and that seems to be the most popular episode of the show this year, since it was also nominated for directing and editing, and just also generally it's the one that people talk about. That one is written by kind of lesser-known writers who don't have Wikipedia pages, as I see, and I believe they actually joined the show this season. So if you guys are predicting Veep, where do you stand on Mother versus Morning After, Amanda?
Currently, I have Mother in first place with not a lot of confidence. I'm still trying to decide where I'm going to take my gambles and risks. But I do think they seem to be gravitating towards that episode. It wasn't necessarily my favorite. I didn't think they were going to win this category last year, but I can't imagine Veep not picking up writing or directing, and I'm not picking them for directing. So I'm going to stick with Mother, but I could see Aziz Ansari picking up for Parents, because I do adore that episode.
What do you think about Veep and Master of None, David?
Yeah, I have Mother in first place too, but I'm tentative, very similar to what Riley were saying in your introduction, is that if people want to reward Dave Mandel and they're aware that he wrote Morning After, because what he's done in this season, people seem to really be championing him for steering this ship in the right direction, taking on a really somewhat insurmountable challenge in picking up the reins from Armando Iannucci. So if they know that he wrote Morning After and they want to vote specifically for him, I could see some voting for Morning After, which would be detrimental to Mother, obviously. But I also agree with you, Amanda, that I feel like Veep is going to win writing or directing, and because there's only two episodes here, they have a better shot winning here, and they won in this category last year too, and I think there might be some inertia there too where they just win where they won last year. But on Master of None, I feel like if anything beats Veep, that will be it, because they only have the one episode to gain support for.
Yeah, the thing about the names, especially for the writing category, is they actually don't really matter, because whereas in Best Comedy Directing, if you click on the nominee, then you get to see like what episode is nominated and who's the director. But on the writing side, there are no names on the nominating ballot, and there are no names on the ballot for when they're picking the winners. So they really try to make it just about the episode, so that you don't have all these external factors influencing things. And like we saw that a couple of years ago, like even though that was with the tape system where Ozymandias beat the series finale of Breaking Bad.
That's what I was going to mention.
Yeah, and you would think that they would want to like award Vince Gilligan, but that didn't happen. And I mean, the year before, Breaking Bad was nominated twice in the category, and neither of the episodes was written by Vince Gilligan. So I feel like the writers are pretty savvy in that they choose like kind of the good episodes, and then they're also kind of prone to their own system, where even if they wanted to vote for people whose names they recognize, they would have to kind of go out of their way to find out which episodes those are, and we always assume that the Emmy voters are extra lazy. The thing about Master of None, I see a lot of people compare it to Louis because it is kind of this auteur piece with by a comedian, and he's doing the writing, directing, executive producing, all that kind of stuff. But Aziz Ansari, I find, is a much newer name to the writers branch than Louis C.K. Like Louis C.K. had been nominated in the past for his writing of like being on various variety writing teams, and he had also been nominated for his specials in the past. And then he was even nominated for Louis before he got around to winning. Whereas Aziz Ansari, he's brand new. Like this is his first nomination, so I'm not sure if he has the level of support that he would need in order to have more than half of Veep support, for example.
Well, I think one of the reasons I have him in second is because I don't feel a rallying behind one of these episodes. Like with Ozymandias, it was like the pinnacle of the season where there is no way you could, well, I thought, I got that category wrong, but you could understand why everyone's kind of gravitating towards this one episode. But I don't feel that way 100%. Like you said, I'm going with Mother because it's in writing, it's in directing, it's in editing. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus's submission. We know they love that episode. But I don't know if there's a lot of rallying around it like, oh my God, this is the greatest episode of Veep ever. Whereas I could see how parents could win. I could even make the case for Catastrophe, and usually we would just say, good for you for getting into this category. Bravo to the Writers Guild for doing what they do best. But my advice is don't get drunk before your category is called, because with if all the Silicon Valley and the Veep split, then it becomes a two-horse race, and we don't really know if they prefer Aziz Ansari or the writers of Catastrophe. And remember, especially in the limited series movie side, they do really love British writers. So they might have a little bit of an edge that we're not thinking about. So stay sober until your category is announced. It'll be one of the first ones of the night.
What do we say about Silicon Valley? I haven't seen the new season, so I can't comment on the episodes themselves, but Riley, you've been talking a lot about how even though they don't have the same number of nominations as Veep, they seem to have the same widespread support across really important categories. So could we see that this is an area where they can actually pick up a win and people would be surprised, but based on the support that they have, it wouldn't be too much of a shock?
Yeah, I mean, Silicon Valley has been nominated for writing every season. I mean, Veep had to wait until its third season before the writers recognized it. So Silicon Valley certainly has, a level of support that I think we underestimate. And whereas Veep, Morning After and Mother are both popular episodes that we're seeing across many categories, Silicon Valley, I find that there's one episode of these two that is stronger than the other. I mean, every year Silicon Valley submits the season premiere, usually written by Mike Judge, and they submit the season finale written by Alec Berg. And in directing, they always go with Mike Judge because he's the bigger name. But in writing, they always go with the season finale because that's the better episode. So I don't see anybody voting for the season premiere over the season finale. So I think Silicon Valley's votes are very concentrated here, and that'll certainly help them. They also did just win the Writers Guild Award for episodic comedy. However, that one is based on, it's decided by a panel, whereas Veep took the General Comedy Series Award, which is just a popular vote. So Veep does appear to be, ahead in terms of general popularity with the writers. I should also mention that Catastrophe won the BAFTA for Best Comedy Writing this year. So there's some heavy hitters here. 3 of our 4 shows have won Best Writing, in the last few months. All right. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm being talked out of really being confident in Veep, but I think I'll stick with Mother until the bitter end. Yeah,
I mean, like personally, I didn't see it. I think Amanda feels the same way, that Morning After is a superior episode to Mother. But this is just kind of a thing where like everybody's telling me that Mother is the best, so I'll say, okay, fine, you're the majority.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she was one of this is like one of her most unlikable episodes. But I might be a little too close to that subject matter. That being said, I might think about where I have Catastrophe because I have it behind Founder Friendly, or I think that's the season premiere of
Yeah.
Silicon Valley. Yeah, so I might, maybe I'll put it in third place and just see, because I do think it's probably more in the race than we're thinking, and it is one of those things that if we see the vote split, is it going to be the BAFTA winner or is it going to be the new face? And that'll be exciting. So at least we won't maybe see a whole Veep sweep again.